What's going on, y'all? You're now watching the greatest channel that has ever existed. My name is Bitcoin Benito, and I truly appreciate you guys for being here with me. So today we're going to talk about a special book. It's called The Changing World Order by Ray Dalio. There's also a video that I'm going to display to you that gets into details about this. And this book talks about how the world goes through cycles that last about 80 to 100 years of how we start with a lot of progress and then the monetary system changes and then it starts off successful and then people become greedy and then it gets worse and then there's strife and conflict. Everything explodes and then things get better and the cycle starts over and over and over again. Okay, so it's a really interesting dynamic, and I'm going to explain how you can escape this process that's happening, how you can escape this changing world order, because this changing world order is happening right now. I know you can feel it. I know in the back of your mind, everything is not hunky-dory as you thought it was. I'm not even going to talk about the president. I'm not going to talk about Trump or Kamala or whatever. You can feel it in yourself, and in order for you to escape it, you're going to have to get into cryptocurrency. Cryptocurrency is the only thing that's going to save you from this. Sorry, it's true. So let's get into it. So before I get into the changing world order, I want to read some comments from my subscribers. Really appreciate you guys. Wouldn't be here without you. First comment that we have is from RLS that says, what people are missing is that Swift coin does have AI involved on its blockchain. Big exchanges are buying. Why? Follow the money, Flocky, Turbo, Degen, PNG, all them things. Yeah, Swift does has AI into it. I talked about Swift. Swift coin is one of the coins that heavily get involved in it. Swift coin does use AI in its infrastructure and its blockchain to help you do its own regulation, to have its own governance token, different things like that. Is the AI really useful? Maybe, maybe not. AI is a buzzword that everyone uses now, including companies. So we're going to have to see in the future if the AI itself is useful. But the explosion of the AI of this coin, I mean, is absolutely amazing. Get into Swift coin as much as possible. It's grown about 900% in the past 2 months. Get into it now. Next comment that we have is from Richard Bruska that says, this project is going to make many people very wealthy. That's very true. Okay. This is talking about Swift coin again. I made the video where it was like Swift coin surged 70% in 1 day. Okay. And Swift coin is going to continue to do that from now until the end of the year. Next comment that we have is from Crypto Things that says, please, I have Bitcoin Zen, which I can't swap on Trust Wallet. How do I sell? What I would recommend that you do is that you can't swap it. Trust Wallet, transfer it into a Bitcoin wallet. See this wallet right here? It's called a BNB chain wallet. So what you do is you transfer the Zen from your Trust wallet to your BNB chain wallet, exchange it for, Ethereum or something, or exchange it for Binance, and then transfer that Binance to something like Coinbase or like Binance app actually itself, and then exchange that Binance for US dollars, okay? And then put it into your bank account. So let me know if that works or not, okay? Next comment that we have is from Stonk Market Party that says, the fact that your mom had the foresight to name you Bitcoin is nothing short of amazing. He has jokes. I met Cardano Jones the other day thinking of naming my daughter Solana. Yes, my name is not Bitcoin. My name is not Benito either. But people call me, I got the name Benito because my friends in college actually called me Benito. And Benito's an alliteration with the word Bitcoin. So it stuck. I like it. Next comment that we have, thank you for that. Thank you for that joke, though. Next comment that we have is from New World Assets that says, what Zen is best to hold for maximum profits? Ethereum Zen, PZen, or OP-Zen? I normally tell people to do OP-Zen, but also the regular Zen on Ethereum is also really good. In fact, the regular Zen on Ethereum has been doing better for the past few months. It's been doing better than OP-Zen. So, I would get into Ethereum Zen and OP-Zen too. I would just buy it off the market. I wouldn't mint Zen. Don't mint Zen on Ethereum. It's too expensive. Don't mint Zen on OP-Zen either. It's too expensive. Based on the results that you're going to get by the end of this bull market, it's not worth the price of minting it. Okay, so just buy it right now and it's going to increase in price. All of these, ETH-Zen and OP-Zen are all going to increase by at least 100 times from its all-time low value. Okay, so let me play the video for you. And this is the Dalio video, Changing World Order. You want to see the actual title. It says Principles for Dealing with Changing World Order by Dalio. I'm going to play for about 5 minutes, stop it every couple of minutes or so, and we're going to enjoy the video together.
Over the last few years, three big things that hadn't happened in my lifetime prompted me to do this study. First, countries didn't have enough money to pay their debts, even after lowering interest rates to zero, so their central banks began printing lots of money to do so. Second, big internal conflicts emerged due to growing gaps in wealth and values.
Okay, so the first two problems is that a lot of countries, they want to build their infrastructure. They want to make their countries better. They want to make their intelligence for their citizens better. So all of those things cost money. And in order to get this money quickly, you have to borrow the money. When you borrow the money, you have to pay interest on it, which means that you have to pay more than you took in. And the easiest way for people to do this, for governments to do this, is to print money instead of, intelligently trying to increase its GDP, its real world value. It creates fake value by causing inflation. This inflation then is a problem because the people that are closer to the money printer and the people that are lucky or more likely intelligent enough to take these new dollars, invest it in something that increases faster than inflation, like cryptocurrency, for example, or buying a house or something like that, or stocks. These people become richer and richer, and wealth grows exponentially. And then the people that are poor are jealous of people that are rich, and the rich and poor people fight against each other. Whether it's good or not, it depends on the situation. Most people are lazy, so they don't actually deserve the money that the rich people get. But a lot of times, rich people do things unfairly. They have children that are automatically born into wealth, and then sometimes these children act arrogant, or maybe these rich people sometimes do nefarious things. They steal from people, but most of the time people are just lazy. It's either they're lazy or ignorant, or sometimes they're just arrogant, and that's why they don't have a lot of money. So it's a mix of things. It's very nuanced.
Showed up in political populism and polarization between the left, who want to redistribute wealth, and the right, who want to defend those holding the wealth. And third, increasing external conflict between a rising great power and the leading great power, as is now happening with China and the United States. So I looked back. I saw that all these had happened together before, many times, and nearly always led to changing domestic and world orders.
Yeah, so we live in a combative world. We live in a dog-eat-dog world. Everyone wants to think that everything is kumbaya, and all we have to do is just have world peace. World peace is getting better, but we're never going to have complete world peace. Human beings are just naturally very competitive. I'm very competitive myself too. I want to be the greatest Bitcoin channel of all time, the greatest crypto channel of all time. It's not like I hate human beings. It's just in my own natural desire that if you want to become great, you have to compete against other people. You have to believe in yourself that you're better than other people. And most importantly, you have to put in the work to let yourself know that you are better than other people, right? So because of that, you run into situations like countries are beefing against each other, such as the United States and China is having right now. And because these conflicts will happen forever, it's going to cause internal strife, right, because of the rich versus the poor inside of your country, and external strife from other countries such as China, such as Russia, such as XYZ. Hey, what's going on, guys? I just want to pause the video for 1 second to tell you about my new course, Crypto Confident, okay, where I make about 300% every 90 days. Now, is this guaranteed to happen? I'm not necessarily a financial advisor. This is not financial advice, but this is very, very likely to happen. And I'm going to show you the exact way to do this step by step. I have 5 hours worth of video where I go through the entire process, and you don't even have to watch the whole 5 hours, okay? But I quickly show you how you could make as much money as me. And I also show you how you can avoid scams like Sam Bankman-Fried. Look at the website right here. It's very elegant, very quick, very easy to understand. And I show you step by step how to not lose your money. I show you when to buy and exactly when to sell, okay? And it's very, very easy throughout the entire process. You need to get into this as quickly as possible. It's 2025 now. You have a very limited amount of time to make all this money. So just go to bitcoinbenito.com right now, bitcoinbenito.com right now. Put in your email so you can get as rich as me, okay? Let's get this money.
The last time this sequence happened was from 1930 to 1945. What exactly is an order, you might ask? It's a governing system for people dealing with each other. are internal orders for governing within countries, typically laid out in constitutions. And there is a world order for governing between countries, typically laid out in treaties. Internal orders change at different times than world orders, though whether within or between countries, these orders typically change after wars. Civil wars within countries, international wars between countries. They happen when revolutionary new forces defeat weak old orders. For example, the U.S. internal order was laid out in the Constitution in 1789 after the American Revolution, and it is still operating today, even after the American Civil War. Russia got rid of its old order and established a new one with the Russian Revolution in 1917, which ended in 1991 with a relatively bloodless revolution. China began its current internal order in 1949 when the Chinese Communist Party won the Civil War. You get the idea.
Yeah, so even though we feel as if we're all civilized and we're all very nice, we drink our tea with our pinkies up in the air and everything, we're still human beings. And when it comes to solving conflicts, if it gets bad enough, it always goes to war. And whoever has the most right, whoever is the most vicious, whoever is the most intelligently murderous and violent as a group, then decides to therefore proliferate their ideas that in their head and a way to create governance. Okay, sometimes it's bloodless, like you said, with the Soviet Union, mostly bloodless, and the Cold War. But most of the time, people get murdered. People get shot in the head. People are violent. Men have testosterone. Women have testosterone too. They fight too. If you don't believe me, go look at any Real Housewives or any Basketball Wives TV show or anything like that. So a lot of times we have to solve our conflicts through killing each other. It's just the way it is. The best way that we can do this now, though, is that we can solve this through cryptocurrency, obtaining assets, and coming up with new ideas to grow our wealth.
The current world order, commonly called the American World Order, formed after the Allied victory in World War II, when the U.S. emerged as the dominant world power. It was set out in agreements and treaties for how global governance and monetary systems work. In 1944, the New World Monetary System was laid out in the Bretton Woods Agreement and established the dollar as the world's leading reserve currency. A reserve currency is a currency that is commonly accepted around the world, and having one is a key factor in a country becoming the richest and most powerful empire. With a new dominant power and monetary system established, a new world order begins. These changes take place in a timeless and universal cycle that I call the Big Cycle. I'll start with a quick overview, then give you a more complete version, and then direct you to my book if you want more. As I studied the 10 most powerful empires of the last 500 years and the last 3 reserve currencies, it took me through the rise and decline of the Dutch Empire and the guilder, the British Empire and the pound, the rise and early decline in the United States Empire and the dollar, and the decline and rise of the Chinese Empire and its currencies, as well as the rise and decline of the Spanish, German, French, Indian, Japanese, Russian, and Ottoman empires, along with their significant conflicts, as measured in this chart. To understand China's patterns better,
and this is absolutely amazing. Look at this chart. The more things change, the more they stay the same. This keeps happening over and over and over again. And these changing world orders, they happen. Okay, so the empires, they last about, 250 years. But the cycle, the short cycle, happens about every 80 years or so, which is about the length of a human being's life. Okay, so this is crazy. And currently the world reserve currency is the United States dollar, but cryptocurrency is going to overtake that. Cryptocurrency is not necessarily a currency, even though it's in its name. It's more like a digital gold, and it's going to take over the world. And there's nothing that anyone can do to stop it. It's already out. That's why I'm still stunned that people are not putting all of their money as much as possible into cryptocurrency, because it's not going anywhere.
I also studied the rise and fall of Chinese dynasties and their monies back to the year 600. Because looking at all these measures at once can be confusing, I'll focus on the 4 most important ones: the Dutch, British, US, and Chinese. You'll quickly notice the pattern. Now let's simplify the form a bit. As you can see, they transpired in overlapping cycles that lasted about 250 years, with 10 to 20 year transition periods between them. Typically, these transitions have been periods of great conflict because leading powers don't decline without a fight. So how am I measuring an empire's power? In this study, I used 8 metrics. Each country's measure of total power is derived by averaging them together. They are education, inventiveness and technology development, competitiveness in global markets, economic output, share of world trade, military strength, the power of their financial center for capital markets, and the strength of their currency as a reserve currency.
Education. Let's talk about America for a short term. Don't worry, I'm not going to yap too much. Education. America is now like number 25 when it comes to understanding language in our education system, and like number 40 or so when it comes to math. So we're doing bad there. Trade is also a problem now. We've been shipping a lot of our jobs to overseas like China and Indonesia and other foreign countries. So the Midwest was heavily influenced with that. And that's part of the reason why Trump won his first presidency. Innovation and technology. Luckily, we're still very innovative in America. But a lot of this innovation is being captured by wokeism. People don't want to use their brain. There was even a couple of schools in California that said math is racist, saying that 1 + 1 is 2 is a racist thing to say, which is absolutely insane. So that's going to be bad for your education. Military, we have a great military too in America, but we've been overspending in our military, so that's not going to last for long. Competitiveness, like I said before, we were like number 20 in English, 20 in language, and like 40 in math, so that competitive is bad. Financial center, we had a lot of recessions. We had the COVID recession. We had the Great Recession in 2008, and then we had the dot-com bubble burst in 2020, so that's kind of bad, and we owe a lot more money now. Our national debt is the worst that it's ever been. It's in it's about $26 trillion that we are in debt. Okay, so that's kind of crazy. The output too is also kind of messed up. We output a lot of things, but we output a lot of soft things and technology. We don't really output that much hardware and manufacturing. And then the reserve status, our reserve status is absolutely trash. We reduce the value of the dollar as quickly as we can because they print it into oblivion. And that's why cryptocurrency and Bitcoin is the only reserve status that matters. Get into cryptocurrency.
Because these powers are measurable, we can see how strong each country is now, was in the past, and whether they're rising or declining. By examining the sequences from many countries, we can see how a typical cycle transpires. And because the wiggles can be confusing, we can simplify it a bit to focus on the pattern of cause-effect relationships that drive the rise and decline of a typical empire. As you can see, better education typically leads to increased innovation and technology development, and with a lag, the establishment of the currency as a reserve currency. You can also see that these forces then declined in a similar order, reinforcing each other's decline. Let's now look at the typical sequence of events going on inside a country that produces these rises and declines. In a nutshell, the big cycle typically begins after a major conflict, often a war, establishes the new leading power and the new world order. Because no one wants to challenge this power, a period of peace and prosperity typically follows.
So this happened right after World War II, when America became the most powerful nation in the world. So this is right around like the late 1940s, early 1950s, with prosperity, with the GI Bill, with the flights into suburban areas, stock market growth, all that good stuff.
As people get used to this peace and prosperity, they increasingly bet on it continuing. They borrow money to do that, which eventually leads to a financial bubble. The empire's share of trade grows, and when most transactions are conducted in its currency, it becomes a reserve currency, which leads to even more wealth. At the same time, this increased prosperity distributes wealth unevenly, so the wealth gap typically grows between the rich haves and the poor have-nots.
Now, the distribution of wealth happening automatically is almost a mathematical thing. It's called Pareto's principle, where 80% of people only produce 20% of the results, and 20% of people produce 80% of the results. Therefore, those 20% of people will therefore get most of the wealth. That's why 80% of the wealth is in the top 20%. 80% of the men, 80% of the men are only having 20% of the women that they have sex with, while 20% of the men at the top have sex with 80% of the women in your country or whatever. even things like 20% of the lions eat about 80% of the gazelles that's in the Serengeti. There's so many principles about this. The best thing that we can do as an intelligent species is to try to distribute the wealth without, being a communist type evil socialist country. We can distribute the wealth. So that's why things like welfare happens and social security and, shelter, stuff like that.
Eventually, the financial bubble bursts, which leads to the printing of money and increased internal conflict between the rich and the poor, which leads to some form of revolution to redistribute wealth. This can happen peacefully or as a civil war. While the empire struggles with this internal conflict, its power diminishes relative to external rival powers on the rise. When a new rising power gets strong enough to compete with the dominant power that is having domestic breakdowns, external conflicts, most typically wars, take place. Out of these internal and external wars come new winners and losers. Then the winners get together to create the new world order. And the cycle begins again. As I looked back, I saw that these cause and effect relationships drove the cycles of rises and declines all the way back to the Roman Empire. I saw how the stories of each one of these cycles blended together with others before, during, and after, in the same way as each individual story blends with others to make the epic 500-year story that is our collective history. And like human life cycles, no two are exactly the same, but most are similar. They're driven by logical cause and effect relationships that progress through stages from birth to strength and maturity to weakness and inevitably decline. However, that's like saying a person's life cycle takes 80 years on average, without recognizing that many are much shorter and many are longer. While age can be a good indicator of future longevity, a better way is to look at health indicators. One can do that with empires and their vital signs too. I found that by watching the indicators of power change, I was able to see what stage a country was in, which helped me to anticipate what was likely to come next. Now, I'll take you through the big cycle in more detail. Give me 20 minutes and I'll give you the last 500 years of history and show you the similar patterns across the Dutch.
All right, so we're not going to go through 20 years. I'm probably going to make a second part of this video. This video is very interesting. Good job, Ray Dalio. But the conclusion is that you can see that this has happened over the last thousands of years, not even a few hundred years. It happens over and over again in thousands of years. And it even happens kind of simultaneously. The different parts of each empire rise and fall starts to interact with each other. There's a famous saying that says, strong men create good times. That's near the beginning. Like the strong men that died in World War II. This is the last cycle that happened. Right? Strong men create good times. Then good times create weak men, right? Because people get too bloated. And then weak men create bad times. And then that's the cycle that's where we are right now in 2025. We have a lot of conflict. We have a lot of people that are making excuses. We have a lot of lazy people. We have a lot of people that just blame everything on others. They don't want to be introspective and look at themselves and tell themselves that, oh yeah, 90% of all the problems in my life is because I made foolish decisions. Okay. Even me today, right? I've only made about 4 videos in the past week, even though I told myself I was going to make 5 videos. Although that's a minor problem, right? But the fact that I didn't make 5 videos, there's nothing stopping me from making 5 videos. Yes, I was really busy at work, but I could have just forsaken watching some TV instead of spending time making videos for you guys right here, right? It's my fault, right? I could blame work. Work is evil. My boss made me do some more work. But, instead of me, lollygagging, doing stupid stuff, I could have just, forsaken things that are not as important and do things that are important, like creating this video. Strong men create good times create weak men create bad times, and then bad times, therefore, create strong men, and then it goes over and over and over again. Okay, so the best way to solve this problem is to get into cryptocurrency, because cryptocurrency is a hedge against the traditional fiat currency, aka in this case the United States dollar. Cryptocurrency has been growing now is between about 3 to 10 million % in the past 15 years. So cryptocurrency only shows signs of growing, and just like cycles that we've seen, 80-year cycles or 250-year cycles, right, that they're talking in here, Bitcoin in its code itself says that Bitcoin will go through a 4-year cycle due to its having an event and due to its inflation. So therefore it's designed to go up and down, up and down, up and down. And the end of one of those 4-year cycles, or the peak of one of those 4-year cycles, is going to happen at the end of 2025. And this is why you need to get into cryptocurrency, because we are probably going to go into bad times in the next 5-10 years, especially when it comes to AI taking everyone's job. When it comes to racial conflicts, when it comes to relationship conflicts, right? All men are trash, stuff like that. What you want to do is you want to become rich, and you want to become financially solvent enough so that these things don't really affect you, right? You can become solvent enough so that you can help the people in your own country, or even if you don't like your own country, you can try to go to another country and then maybe start a family in another country, and then send money to your relatives and your friends in the country that you left before. Or it could be like me, give out information for free, or offer people courses that are very, very cheap. My course is very cheap, like you saw in the middle of this video. And that way you can help other people so that we can escape this new world order, this crash of this new world order that's pretty much happening right now. And cryptocurrency is pretty much the only savior that's going to do this. Yes, you can start a side business, or, use your paycheck to pay for cryptocurrency. But cryptocurrency is the end all be all. Okay. Your job or your business is just fuel to give you even more money into cryptocurrency that you're then going to sell for United States dollars, and probably assets, right? Until at the end of 2025. Okay. And I'm telling you all this because I thank you. I love you. I appreciate you. Let's get this money.